recording me, but I can't hit live. So you guys are going to see some of this in the background. So I'm going to hit go live right here, and we're already live because we've been live. Welcome to the Lore Reloaded. Hey, check me out at twitter.com/Lore Reloaded. Though, I will go ahead and trigger warning you there that by going there, it's not only Star Trek, but my opinions on everything. So if you want to hate me, definitely a place to check out. Twitch.tv/Lore Reloaded is a great place to go as well, because we often play games on that channel. Hope everybody's doing well today. Let me know how the sound is. I do have my my air conditioner on because it is the warmest or hottest July that we've ever recorded, so kind of hot. Also, let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can. Yep. What's going on, Philip K? You know, what's interesting is I have shaved for you people. Shaved and brushed my hair. And no one's sitting here commenting or talking. What is going on with that? I do all of this for you, and no one shows up. Very, very disappointed. What's going on? 100% American Buffalo. So today we're going to be talking about the Star Trek cinematic universe that they are going to be creating, at least according to some news reports that are coming out. And we're going to get a little bit more in depth to that, have some conversation, see what you guys think. Depending on how many people are here, we may or may not continue on. So if you like this, definitely hit the like button, share it out. Because again, it's all about being a conversation, and it can only have a conversation if you guys are here. We got Timmy the Squirrel in the house, 100% American Buffalo. Michael Weir, the Michael Weir, everybody. Not just anybody, but the Michael Weir. Continuum Trek, always a pleasure, good sir. Andrew Duncan is here. Don't know why it deleted you. Sorry on that, Andrew Duncan. Am I any less of a person because I occasionally do something gross? Yes, you are, EAE. Very much less of a person. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Of course, this is open to anything you want to talk about. I come up with some topics, and then you guys usually get me off script, and we start having all kinds of crazy conversations, and you guys get to have little talking clips that other people take out of context. Go on Reddit and call me an alt-writer. Thank God for live streams, right? All right, let's get into it. This is coming from comicbook.com. I'll go ahead and share it right here. How Star Trek could become the next Marvel. And this isn't just them. I actually saw a couple of people talking about this. Saw a couple of theories on it. And some people behind the scenes are trying to do something like this. W.R. Costin says, yes, Lore Reloaded, we all know that real men have beards. On that note, what's your favorite Star Trek beard so far? Isn't Riker's the only beard that exists? I really don't know many people with beards. We got Germany up into his house through Guardian of the Hill. I have a goatee. I feel so inadequate. Yes, Charles, you should feel inadequate. All right, here we go. Again, comicbook.com by Jamie Lovett, or Lovey, as they say in the Latin. Earlier this week, CBS and Viacom announced plans to merge, which they have already merged. The reunification of these two companies bringing Star Trek, television, and films rights together for the first time in almost 15 years. Film rights, well, see, and these already, Jamie, buddy, come on. Technically, both CBS and Viacom have shared the rights between Star Trek. They like to keep them separate, but in theory, they could interuse them. It's really weird the way they got it set, so it's not just as cut and dry as, you know. I mean, television and film rights, that's appropriate, but the Star Trek brand itself, they own all of it together. But it's stupid stuff like that that creates this has to be 25% different BS that's been disproven time and again. Laughable Larry helping the channel. As you guys know, the only way I can continue to do this is by viewers like you, super chats, Patreon members, as well as joining on YouTube. Laughable Larry, thanks for being the best part of my day, Lord. Hey, I'm proud to be the best part of your day, buddy. I'm proud to be the best part of your day. All right, looking back at comicbook.com, some already wonder if this could lead to a new era for the Star Trek franchise, reclaiming its spot in the upper echelons of modern fandoms. I don't know that Trek ever was in the upper echelons. It certainly wasn't in the original series. It was popular, but not necessarily upper echelons. Maybe during the Next Generation. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, so Charles Rhineley, if you're a sponsor through YouTube, you get to have a green name. I wish Patreon would join up with YouTube in that way so you could do special stuff like that. Michael Weir, finally, I just hope they can find someone who actually loves Trek, says Michael Weir. You know, I will say this. I think that a lot of people who work on Trek actually do like it. I don't know about Kurtzman and such, but I think a lot of the people really do get behind and enjoy what they do. When it comes to showrunners and such, I'm not so sure. But anyway, going back to comicbook.com, after Rover Repairs, Love the Lore Vids, here's some English money. I always enjoy English money. Money that is English, I always enjoy it. All right. Michael Weir, someone to run the studio. Yeah, again, I don't know when it comes to running the studio or showrunners how much they love it per se, but I do think a lot of people below that definitely do. Looking at comicbook.com, a little history first. Star Trek at one time was the fandom. The community of fans that sprouted around Star Trek the original series was the first of its kind. Their letter-writing campaign kept Star Trek alive for 3 seasons. After that, their support led to Star Trek's post-cancellation return as a film franchise in Star Trek the Motion Picture. I don't know that Star Trek was the first to do it. Maybe they were. I feel like they weren't, though, but maybe. I don't know. Then Star Trek The Next Generation came in 1987, returning Star Trek to television. Star Trek remained on television with 4 series over 18 years. Star Trek Enterprise ended that run in 2005, the same year that Viacom announced that it would split from CBS. Star Trek was the premier sci-fi franchise during the 1990s, with no new releases for 4 years following the end of Enterprise. It receded from public consciousness. From 2009 through 2016, Paramount Pictures released 3 Star Trek films set in an alternate timeline now known as the Kelvin timeline. While the films received praise from critics, they divided fans. Star Trek Beyond underperformed at the box office despite releasing in 2016, the franchise's 50th anniversary. Other franchises began to overshadow Star Trek during this time. In 2008, Marvel Studios launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man. It's now the most dominant film franchise in history. Star Wars went a decade without a film release, but managed to keep attracting new fans through the animated Star Wars The Clone Wars. Those fans were primed for the film's franchise's 2015 return with Star Wars The Force Awakens. Not a lot I disagree with on that. What's going on, Jeff Franklin? So we'll keep going. We now live in a world where every department store carries a selection of Marvel and Star Wars merchandise, but not Star Trek. With this merger, that may be about to change. Dun dun dun. Star Trek has been on the upswing for a couple of years before the Viacom CBS announcement. Brian Fuller and Alex Kurtzman created Star Trek Discovery, the first new Star Trek series since Enterprise. It's one of the flagship titles of the CBS All Access streaming services. It's proved successful enough for CBS to sign Alex Kurtzman to a 5-year deal, putting him in charge of developing the Star Trek television franchise. He's brought back Patrick Stewart for Star Trek Picard. He's overseeing the pilot for Discovery spinoff Star Trek Section 31. He's launching the franchise's first animated comedy, Star Trek Lower Decks. That's actually untrue. The first animated comedy was the animated series. They may have not meant for it to be a comedy, but it was. He's going back to comicbook.com. He's also set an animated Star Trek series aimed at younger viewers for Nickelodeon, a Viacom-owned cable network. Here's my only issue with this. Charles Rhineley, I love the Clone Wars and Rebels. I liked the Clone Wars. Rebels was decent. Rebels got really good towards the end. I haven't watched the new one. I know Space Doc was a huge fan of the newest Star Wars and got really upset when they got canceled. I do remember that there was a lot of toys and a lot of things being sold during the Next Generation's run. We haven't seen a lot of that for Discovery. Michael Weir, again, thank you so much for helping. Michael Weir has been a huge help. I mean, a lot of you guys have, but Michael Weir has really went above and beyond, and I sincerely appreciate it. Got to run. Keep up the awesome work. Well, thanks, Michael Weir. praying for Picard. Well, who isn't? Looking at Discovery, there are. See, I don't know how I feel, because they say that Star Trek Discovery has been wildly popular. But we just, because it's behind a paywall, because CBS gets to decide what we see and what we don't, there's no true way to see that, to know that. I mean, there's certain indications. A lot of people like to say it failed. I don't know that that's the case. Simply because CBS is a company, I can't see them taking extraordinary losses to continue with what they're doing. They're opening up 4 new series. I just can't see it. If it really bombed, as much as some like to say that it did, I can't really see it. Them going to that. They're a company. They don't want to lose money, right? That said, I don't know that Star Trek Discovery was just the awesome sauce that they claim it is. Star Trek Discovery is not kid-friendly enough for a toy line. You know, and that's a point, too. I think that a lot of people, and that was like a huge thing for some. It's not they don't have toy lines. They don't have all of this going forward. They're not selling as much merchandise, which only proves 25%, the 25% thing, or only proves they're not doing well. But I don't know that Star Trek Discovery was really geared towards that either. They do have merchandise. It's just not at the quote-unquote kid level. And I would not, under any circumstance, let my 10-year-old... I certainly wouldn't let my 5-year-old, but probably not my 10-year-old, watch Star Trek Discovery either. I don't think that it's geared... I agree, I don't think it's geared towards kids. And so I don't think they're selling the exact type of merchandise. That said, I don't think they're doing like just the... as awesome as they say they are either, right? Continuing on with comicbook.com. Charles Ryan Lee. I don't see why there can't be toy lines from shows that aren't kid-friendly. Because if you're selling toys, you want to sell them to kids. And shows that aren't kid-friendly won't have a lot of kids watching them. I mean, you might be able to make an argument that a lot of toy sales can come from people who aren't kids themselves, but I don't know. Oh, there are a ton of things that make Star Trek Discovery unwatchable by kids. Just like a ton. What's going on, Daniel's hot topic? I mean, an unreasonable amount. You have naked Klingons was brought up. You have severed baby heads. You have cursing here and there. It's not that bad. It's not Trek, but it's not that bad. You have inferred sexual assault. Ultimately, it wasn't, but through many series, there's inferred sexual assault. You also have genocide of people, where stuff is just coming out of their mouth. No one can say that Discovery is kid-friendly. Anyone who says that Discovery is kid-friendly, including the actors and actresses, either don't have kids or don't know what kid-friendly means. Well, there were toys of RoboCop and Terminator, and so those were not kid-friendly. Sure, that's fair. Stajapan Samajia. I would say we are in a different... era than that was. And I would also argue that probably shouldn't have had kids watching that either. I would agree that... I also agree that we have 66 viewers and only 27 likes. Guys, don't be scared of that like button. If you like these conversations, if you're here watching this and you want it to continue, hit like. Hitting like and watching this for long periods of time will get YouTube to share it with more people. The more people that watch it, the more conversations we have. And the longer we go. Star Wars 4 was geared for kids too, but it had limbs cut off, genocide, and rape too. Star Wars 4. It had limbs cut off. All right, so it had limbs cut off. I'll agree with that. Genocide. Where do genocide and the last one come in? I'd be curious where in Star Wars 4 that specifically was. I would also argue, Charles, that even if it had that, there's a difference in how you present it too. There was no scene where you see a Klingon female sexually assaulting a human male in Star Wars 4. Sure as hell was in Discovery. Bite me, I have liked because I like to view. Well, I like to view you too. Does the merge mean anything more than a money transfer between the true Trek powers? They might be able to show more stuff either way. They don't have to go through all of that. C. Reynolds, Alderaan. Genocide in the destruction of Alderaan. Let me say this. While that was a genocide, that's fair enough. I would counter that how they portrayed it, how they portrayed the destruction of Alderaan, and what you see on Star Trek Discovery are two different things. Vastly two different things. I would also say the Jabba scene. First off, Hutts, good sir, are asexual, and if they have sexual drives, that has never been confirmed. They are highly misogynistic and do enjoy putting down the female sex, but when it comes to what they actually do, there's been no confirmation of that. This channel started out as a Star Wars channel. I could make Eckhart's Ladder beg me for more information. Do not even get me. Trust me. Star Wars was where this channel started. Good sir. Joking aside, yeah, I would at a minimum say, again, all of it is implied or inferred and not shown, and it's shown on Discovery. I think that's drastically different. Now, if you're going to say that that's hypocritical or you don't think that it is, I would disagree, but you do have a valid point in that those things were at least inferred and they were put in front of kids. So it's fair to a degree, I think. All right, going back to comicbook.com and what our good friends have to say. What we do have is new generations, and what I can tell you is that Trek, in general, finds people when they're about between 9 and 12. Like hell, Kurtzman. You lie, Kurtzman. You lie. What we do have is new generations, and what I can tell you is that Trek, in general, finds people when they're between 9 and 12. If it finds people between their 9 and 12, let me take that. You may not lie. That is a horrible age to be watching Discovery. Absolutely preposterous. Anyone watching Discovery. Now, if he's talking about other Trek, maybe, but not Discovery. Let me start that again, because I got triggered. What we do have is new generations, and what I can tell you is that Trek, in general, finds people when they're about between 9 and 12. Kurtzman said during an appearance on Deadline's Crew Call podcast. It's never reached younger than that. It's never tried to. And to me, that's a hugely missed opportunity, especially because what you're really trying to do is influence hearts and minds with really positive messages about who we can be as a species and as people and what our future is. So why not start young, you know, and not for a cynical reason, not because you know, hey, some more toys, because if you really want Star Trek to reach people, then you've got to start young. But we are definitely seeing just metric proof that the fan base is growing, and it's growing younger, and yet we're keeping our current fans, and that's great. Does this not prove that they're trying to push their own mentality on people? You know, this to me, first off, Mary Makanami, one of the biggest contributors of the channel. I'm so appreciative. I'm here to smash the like button and keep the lights on. Always love the live streams, Lore Reloaded. Yep. Again, the thing behind me, the counter behind me is not just there for show, isn't randomly done. $50 a day is what I need to keep the lights on, and I appreciate anyone who helps out. The thing that scares me about the Kurtzman saying this, is Star Trek Discovery went out of its way to call Orange Man bad. And he's talking about he wants to influence hearts and minds. Now, if it was the positive messaging that, hey, anyone can be anything, diversity is good, you should never fall to your inner demons, things like that, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't even be against it if we removed what they tried to do in the mirror universe, the forced propaganda in the mirror universe, and just said that's how we want to change and influence the minds of young people, because ultimately most of that I think comes from a good place, even if it gets into a toxic realm. But this is scary as hell, because they're saying they want to basically brainwash and influence young people, and they want to do that by doing this orange man bad, and to a degree I agree, identity politics BS. And I honest to God, I hope when Kurtzman says that, he's more just talking about pushing what we've always known from Star Trek, which is, not necessarily going with what the culture says. Again, diversity isn't a bad thing, and anyone can do anything they want to do. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, Asian, whatever, female, male. But it's stuff like that scares the hell out of me. That said, again, art is meant to impact people. It's meant to change minds. So it's my hope that when he says that, he's not talking about politics in that way. The way I see it, Stargate Universe and Star Trek Discovery are not family friendly, and that's why they ultimately at least failed. Results don't lie. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to see. Because again, 9 to 10 for Discovery, I really would be surprised to see Discovery gets that, and it makes me lose faith in humanity. I'll be honest with you. If that's what pulls 9 and 10-year-olds. Mignot Filet, add me into call and let's debate, chat, talk. Not today, Callum Oxton, but if you want to send an invite to james@lorereloaded.com, we may be able to. I'm not sure what you'd like to debate, though. Broken Eyes, keeping lore lights online for the fan collective. Thank you, Broken Eyes, for helping out the channel. Every little bit helps. Orange Man means orange jumpsuit of some prince. Now, when I say orange man, that's what I've commonly heard people say in reference to Trump. That because he doesn't tan himself, he uses tanning stuff. And there has been several messaging saying that conservatives bad, orange man bad, and it's blatantly there. And if you don't see it, I would challenge you that you have blinders there. And I don't mean that in a bad way. And and I have to say this every time I bring it up. Just because I'm pointing this out and I'm stating it's a bad thing, doesn't necessarily mean I'm this huge fan of Trump. People get that confused all the time. I sincerely believe Trump got elected not because of people who liked him, but because the people who hated him called everyone a Nazi. And that's why I think it's bad, because ultimately you're only helping those you hate, in my opinion. All right. Kurtzman here we go. Continuing on with comicbook.com. Kurtzman may not be focusing on the toy aspect, but a successful merchandising and licensing wing is key to the longevity of any media franchise. To that end, CBS in June launched the Star Trek Global Franchise Group. The new team looks to expand the franchise outside of television and into the digital spaces, consumer goods, and live events. If all goes well, Star Trek will no longer be something you watch, but something you can also experience. Viacom CEO Bob Bakish, set to become CEO of Viacom CBS, made it clear in an internal memo that he plans to push the brands the company owns to their fullest. He's singling out Star Trek as a prime example. The analysts at Deadline speculated about what that could mean for the franchise's future. All right, we're about to get into what this whole thing is about in just a second. If Discovery was distributed in syndication, like TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise was, I don't feel like it would have had a second or at least third season. And again, I really, I don't know. They're with them hiding the numbers, we can never know. OMG, Lore hates Orange VP. Yeah, I hate Orange VP. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Identity, top politics, brainwashing, isn't that kind of counter to the free thinking encouraged by Trek in general? Here's the interesting thing about Star Trek, and I think that it does live in a interesting space. Star Trek has always been left-leaning. I think they have had some conservative things, but I think it's really hard to say that they haven't had a left bent to them. But it has always been respectful. It has always been a conversation, not telling someone that they're wrong, you know? So it's fundamentally different, you know? So here we go. The new multi-platform possibilities of corporate upsizing may mean Trek could soon be making a giant leap in its aspirations, not unlike the ones in 1980 and 1990s that elevated Star Wars from a blockbuster film franchise to the ubiquitous, wall-to-wall cultural force that it represents today. As we all know, money has a way of enhancing a proposition. In that vein, the Star Trek Brain Trust has already acknowledged that the animation push is viewed as a way to enhance the brand's toy business and to win the hearts and minds and allowance money of kids. Another page from a now Disney-owned that Lucasfilm used to masterful effect to build the fan allegiance for characters that weren't in the original film trilogy. Yeah. See, here's the interesting piece. I do actually believe that they're going to start trying to bring all of this together. That they're going to try to create this Star Trek universe. We've always had actually a Star Trek universe, right? The concern is that they're going to oil or get a new chair. Hey, best bloke. I tell you what. Hold on, guys. Whoops. No, don't delete it. Best bloke. Oil or get a new chair, you effing mess. Hold on. Sorry, guys. We're going to have to stop this for a second. Let's see. Comfortable gaming chairs. Hold on. Wait for it. All right. What do we want to do? I tell you what. Best bloke. I don't want to be greedy. I really don't. So let's do the Herman Miller Aaron B. office chair. This one looks pretty nice. This one, and it's decently priced. Hey, best bloke. There you go. Gonna put it right. Whoa. The hell? I can't share it. Well, we won't do that one then. Let's go to another one. I'll bit.ly it. That's what I'll do. bit.ly.com. Well, I can't do that one then. You got lucky. We'll go to the Killabee reclining one. Let's see if I can share that one. Can't do that one either. All right, I tell you what. Hey, best bloke. Send me an email at james@lorereloaded.com. I will send you the chair I want. It's going to be anywhere from $150 to $500. You can have it sent to my house, or you can kiss my ass. Either one you want, or you can fully fund my Patreon, and the first thing I will do once you fully fund it, the first thing I will do is buy a new chair for you. Best bloke. For you. Good buddy. But if you don't want to do that, then, yeah, I think we've already talked about it. All right. What was I talking about? Where was I, good people? What was I talking about? I forget. I do, oh. Yeah, here we go. Someone said, and I forget who said it, I forget who said it. Someone was like that Star Trek was in a liberal vacuum or something like that. I don't agree that it was in a vacuum. I can give you a lot of different examples where they would present a problem, and sure, it would lean one way or the other, And, but they would still be respectful, and I think they would give both sides to it. I sincerely do. Now, there was some, before it doesn't. Will you shave before we kiss it? I shaved before I came on. Look at the hair. You see this hair? Look at this hair. This is combed. In my first, it's combed. And see, look. Y'all are so stupid. Look, I shaved. I even cut myself right there. I cut myself for you people. I look like a fat version of a beetle, and I did it for you. All right. Anyway, I think it's always been fair before Discovery. That's all I'm saying. Y'all make me tired. Back to comicbook.com. You're beautiful. Thank you, Nick Kugler. Back to comicbook.com. As for what this means, the creative side that's yet to come, since Discovery Star Trek tie-in material such as Star Trek Online, the Star Trek novel series, Star Trek Online isn't a tie-in. It's a fan fiction at best right now. I think he meant shave your backside. Okay, you got me, Franklin. Because my backside, it's not shaved. I didn't do that. Comicbook.com. As for what this means for the creative side that's yet to come, since Discovery Star Trek tie-in material such as Star Trek Online, the Star Trek novel series, and IDW's publishing Star Trek comic books have all seen increased coordination in an attempt to keep storylines consistent with Star Trek film and television back under the same roof, the same could happen between those two pillars of the franchise. That may be a long way away, but there's no longer any reason that characters from TV can't run into characters from the movies. So here's my point. With all of this is that they could always interact. It was just harder to do because you had two companies that wanted to make money. So you had the movies that wanted to make their own money versus the television, which wanted to make their own monies. And that's why you didn't see the Sovereign in Deep Space Nine, but events that the Sovereign was a part of were mentioned, like the Borg attack. Star Trek is the first MCU. I think it's one of the very first that had consistency among it, right? They tried to stay consistent. Guardian of the Hill says, I don't look like a fat version of the Beetle. I look like a barely overweight version of Riker. I look like Enterprise era Riker is what you're saying, but you're much cooler than both. Well, thank you. Thank you. Unfortunately, I have an arthritis that won't let me drink. We got 59 likes, 87 people watching. Don't forget to hit that like. Could you do a breakdown of the Star Trek Green Lantern comics? And the $5 are for your cuts in your chair. Enjoy. Well, thank you, JJMFDL. I'll throw that in the hopper. I do want to try to move a little bit into some beta canon, but I'm not sure how or when that's going to happen. But I'll put that. I have a list of things people request, and sometimes I'll just go there and randomly choose something or go down the list, just depending on how I'm feeling. So I'll definitely put that in there. And again, thank you for the super chat. The number isn't random. That's how much I need a day to survive with 2 kids. And not interestingly, but just so you guys know, anything over the $50, if I get $300 more for the month outside of the $50 I need every day, then I will do the movie breakdowns, which they're going to happen regardless, but that just helps me do them faster. Every ship in First Contact was in Deep Space Nine. Sovereign wasn't because it was a hero ship. Well, good old gamer, it's not that it wasn't just that it was a hero ship. It was that they wanted people to watch the movie and see the Sovereign. They wanted to keep the Sovereign out of the television series, not because they were trying to keep things different, because there's a conspiracy theory that it's all different, but they wanted people to go watch First Contact. Is there any fan-made Star Trek episodes? There's like a ton of fan-made Star Trek. All kinds of fan-made Star Trek episodes. What kind of Star Trek episode were you interested in? Yeah, unfortunately, a couple months ago, I had an arthritis that hit me, and it paralyzed me for a couple of days. Could not move. It was that painful. And since then, I can't really have a lot of carbohydrates, sugars, and beer is absolutely out. Any alcohol, not just beer. Their Star Trek continues on YouTube, Prelude to Axanar. There's a lot of Star Trek ones. Some of them good, some of them not. A lot of people will ask me what I think about the merger. I think the merger's fine. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong. We just have to see where they go with it. It depends on who's in control. CBS legal policy is horrific. If Viacom decides to let the CBS legal policy go, then it's going to suck for me. If they decide to be like Disney or like, I don't know, anybody else, Fox, then I'm going to like what happened, Do Breen have empire in Star Trek series now or in the past? They had their own government, and they were pretty powerful in Deep Space Nine. By the way, guys, if you have a question for me, put at Lore Reloaded, and it'll pop up. That's why a lot of people are doing that. And it'll have a special color that lets me see it. Kelloxton, I hope you are okay. Yeah, I'm fine, bud, but it was horrible. I actually now have to take medicine for the rest of my life, but... yeah, I had a pretty horrible month that time. And I had to continue working and all that like anyone else would, so it was pretty bad. Laura, I hear that Discovery Season 3 is almost done filming, but it's just started filming in July, and filing usually lasts 5 months. And filming usually lasts. Okay, I don't know Daniel's Hot Topics. I honestly don't keep up with it that much. For every like Laura gets, Continuum Track will blow kisses at me. And continue to use music that is widely known to be with my channel. Actually, Continuum Track actually did a pretty interesting video. Yeah, I don't, you guys talk, I actually don't like my chair either. I do need to do something about that. I agree. I know at least one good thinking about the merger. Okay. Yeah, so when it comes to the Star Trek cinematic universe, I think that they've been doing that on television at least, and I do actually, to say that. So here's the thing: I think that comicbook.com is actually incorrect, because events in the movies impact the television series, and events in the television series impact the movies. We saw it in First Contact. We saw from Deep Space Nine referencing First Contact, and then we saw in Nemesis, I think. No, not Nemesis. Insurrection, referencing Deep Space Nine. So they've referenced each other before. Voyager, we saw the Queen from First Contact in Voyager. So it's not like this stuff hasn't already been done. But will they take it to Marvel Cinematic Universe levels? Maybe. Just came from Jive Turkey Stream. All hell chair. Who's the Jive Turkey Stream? Just came from Jive Turkey. Was Jive watching me and not liking my chair? It's Jive Turkey. Now you got me interested. Jive Turkey live stream. Oh, he was live. I guess they were making fun of my chair. That's cute. I don't even know who this guy is. 33,000 subs? Subdiver? Okay. I don't like what Disney did to the Hulk. Disney made the Hulk family friendly, whereas Incredible Hulk made by Universal was dark and serious. I don't have a lot of information on the Hulk. I don't know a lot about that. Was it really that bad? Because I don't remember that. How do you feel about the upcoming updates for Star Trek Online, or much rather be current state of the game? What updates are we specifically talking about with Star Trek Online? Star Trek Online updates. Believe it or not, I haven't kept up with Star Trek Online either. What started you off on the great work you have been doing on YouTube? Did you just want to start a channel, or did it happen at random? My chair is now more famous than me. I will try to fix my chair. I'm sorry if it got too bad. I actually have been doing YouTube for 10 years. About a year ago, I started this channel. I've been trying new things all throughout. This channel originally started as kind of like a lore theory type deal where we took lore, whether it was real or not, and made it and changed it up. I started, you could see History Reloaded if you watch the very first video I ever did on the channel. And I was alternating between like World of Warcraft lore, Star Trek lore, and Star Wars lore. One of my Star Trek, one of the Star Trek ones, the one where the Borg win. For whatever reason, the algorithm liked it. It went viral. It got like 50,000 views in less than 3 days. And I did my first ever Star Trek The Dominion War after that. And yeah, there we go. ZE Films production in the house. Y'all should check him out. He does some excellent work. I'm actually going to start doing some Star Trek Online breakdowns of ships, and he does it really well. He's someone I was watching. So yeah, check him out, especially if you like Star Trek Online. ZE Film Productions, good people. I don't think we'll see the Enterprise F. It wasn't made until 2409 or 2410. Okay. Get a chair out of a car. It's what we got. They're comfy, and you can get them for cheap from auto shops. That's what I'll do. I will go and get a chair out of a car, and that's what I'll sit in. That's exactly what I'll sit in. You know, you've solved the case. We're actually getting towards the end of the stream, but it's always fun to have you, ZE Films. I need to have you on sometime. I bet a lot of Trekkies will hate the Section 31 show. Midnight Silence and Mecha Random are going to hate it with a fiery passion and try to destroy it while attacking its fans. I don't know. We'll have to see where Midnight's Edge is the name, not Silence. Midnight's Edge and Mecha Random go with it. I don't pretend to know. They're pretty critical of most Star Trek stuff, I would agree. You know, it depends on what they do with Section 31, especially if they try to make it happy-go-lucky. I don't know. I'd be curious. I imagine Laura literally breaking into a car and stealing the chair and walking off. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to buy it or anything. I'm just going to go find a car, break into it, figure a way to take it out. I'm probably not even going to be able to do it well. I'm probably going to have to like just take half of the chair and then come, and that's what I'm going to sit in. I discovered you about a year ago during your Dominion War stuff, which got me to watch DS9. Thank you very much. Well, hey, I'm here for you, Nick Hagler. Talk to you later, Caleb Oxton. Always a pleasure, good sir. Hashtag car chair. What? Hashtag car chair and hashtag, what was the other one? Fat Riker. That's what I should be known for. Oh my God, Jackson Heathen. I did this for you, but we've already had this conversation. I'm going to assume you just joined. But buddy, I combed for you. I think I look like a fat beetle. Well, you know, one of the Beatles? I think I look like a fat beetle. But most people think I look like a fat Riker. I did it for you, buddy. You guys are never happy. Ever. I think Section 31 is interesting. I can understand why people don't like it and why it breaks the lore somewhat. A lot of people, the original series fans, the Next Generation fans, don't like Section 31. I can completely understand that, though, if I'm being honest. If I had a car chair, hashtag poverty Riker. There we go. Me, you, and Anti-Trucker should hang out sometime. Okay, maybe. I did watch your first vid, and the Borg vid is what got me hooked. I see a lot of the same love I have for Star Trek in you, and I was just hooked. I've been watching you for 24 years. I had been watching. I was not me for 24. I'm glad you like it. I actually cringe at that video because I did memes, and I had both Hillary and Trump in it. I don't like that video, but for when it was, I think I did okay. We're Star Trek fans. We're never happy. That is, oh God, man. If ever there was a truer statement. in my mind, the philosophy of IDIC would include acceptance of people's different kinds of chairs and haircuts. I would agree. I would agree. All right, guys. I think we are going to end it there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll probably have another thing tomorrow. I may actually do a video tomorrow. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next Lore Reloaded.